Hey guys, Jay Hoyd here. Before this video gets started, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support across all of the channels recently. I can't thank you guys enough for it, but we're still so close from our goal here on YouTube of 200 subscribers. I think we're like 3 or 4 away. So if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, hit the subscribe button down below. But we got another banging video for you today. We got our third episode of our Detroit Red Wings rebuild on NHL 21. What's going on, guys? Jay Hoyd back with you today. Welcome back to episode number 3 of our rebuild of the Detroit Red Wings on NHL 21 franchise mode. Said it all backwards. Doesn't really matter. Probably not. But if you guys remember last episode, we had a complete makeover of pretty much half our organization, and we got a lot of new faces on our squad. So we had a little bit of a preseason battle. So we'll get to show you guys the lines in a minute. But if you are enjoying this series, make sure you hit the like button down below. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below in that comments section. But let's get right into it. So we got a little bit of a new look to the recording session. We made a new scene on OBS, and now we're down here in the bottom instead of up a little bit. So hopefully that's a little bit better. Now you can see hopefully more once we get into the lines and stats and everything. But let's get into it though. So we passed the preseason. I think we were like 4-3 or something. Nothing really crazy, as far as preseason stats go. But a little bit of a new look for the squad. And some of our guys actually impressed more than others. So newcomer Anthony Duclair actually worked his way right up to that first line. He performed really well in the preseason. And once he was on that first line with Larkin and Mantha, he actually performed really well. Put up, I think it was like a 4-point game or something like that. But down on our second line moves Bertuzzi. He had to move him off the first line. Rasmussen moves up. He actually performed really well as well. Hosang performed really well. Then you move down to the third line. These guys still performed really well. Just the matchups in the lineups. These guys played the best together than the other guys' combinations, if you will. Kovalchuk, Fabry, and Zadina will be our third line, at least to start off the season. Obviously, everything could change. And then down on our fourth line, you got Steen, Anisimov, and Simmons. Those guys held stronger on that fourth line, putting up those gritty minutes. Was it Nemeskov and Grigorenko? I think were the two. Should we just go check? Yeah, Nemeskov and Grigorenko. Yeah, so those two guys will start in the AHL. Obviously, if some guys underperform, we might end up calling them up. But we still have a lot of good young guys on the squad. But let's go to defense. So Ryan Murray actually makes his debut on the first line with Hronek. Second line will be Cholowiski and Hjalmarsson. Third line of DeKaiser and Stetcher. So Mann and Seider ended up not really performing too well. We did give them like 4 games, I think. They just, no points, like minus, and they didn't play well. So we're gonna start with them in the AHL, and obviously depending on performance and if underperforming players in the NHL, we might move them up. And of course, goaltenders stayed exactly the same. Bennington and Grice. Those guys most likely won't change all year long. The first 2 episodes were kind of just like, hey, here's a whole bunch at once, but we're only going to do about half the year in this episode. So, we're only going to do a half year, kind of, adjust month by month, see what's going to happen, and we'll move on from there. So, we got a completely new coaching staff, we got a new scouting staff, half the new organization, a lot is brand new, and of course, the first 2 years didn't go the way we planned. So, this is the year that we're going to start. Do really well, hopefully. Obviously, a lot of new faces in there, so hopefully they can mesh together here. But let's go to the start of what would be November after these couple of games and kind of see where we go from there. Still signing scouts because we were lacking some guys. So you might see a couple signings of scouts coming up. I don't remember how many I actually signed, but pretty good start so far. 3-1, facing off against some pretty solid teams. And, not really allowing a ton of goals right off the start either definitely helps out with that one. But unfortunately, we run into a little bit of a losing streak, I should say. What are we going to do, though? 4-5. Still rocking out. Kind of going even. No games have really been a complete blowout until nothing. I mean, we got a couple more games here, 3-2 and another 7-4 loss. So 5-10 start to the league, or I should say to the season. But let's go try to figure out what's going on. So after a quick look through all of the lines, no one is really, well, except for one player, but for the most part, there's not a lot of guys underperforming right now. I mean, Duclair's still continuing his hot streak, 16 points in 15 games. Our top line's performing. And then the only guy that's really not performing is Rasmussen on the second line. 3 points, -8 in the 15 games. So should we swap up Fabry for now? I guess we'll give that a chance. Other than that, there's really not much going on. Defensive-wise, I mean, everyone's kind of holding their own. Just kind of averaging here a few points here and there. You know, kind of average plus minus. Our goalies really aren't doing the greatest either right now. But I don't know. I mean, we changed the strategies from last year, so that should have helped out a ton. But I don't know. So hopefully we'll try one more month and then see if we need to make any signings or roster moves or anything. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But let's get into our second month of play. So the start of the second month here in November leaves us questioning what the heck is going on with our team. Because like I said, nothing really blatantly obvious is happening. You know, no guys are really completely struggling. And I just don't know. Lots of guys are there. Lots of guys are performing. Some guys are, performing better than expected. But our team is just not overall performing. So, 6-0 loss to Ottawa. Ooh, that's not good. Then a big 7. Then a rebound 7-1. Okay. So we're still just losing games like crazy. So 9-17-1. Maybe we'll go look at the team stats, not necessarily the player stats, but the team stats, and see what's going on from there. So let's check it out. The team stats, I guess, if you will. So we currently sit 29th in the league out of 31 teams, which means we suck. So let's figure it out. So 9-17-1. What's going on? So 83 goals for is relatively towards the bottom of the league. You know, obviously top of the league has 116 there. So goal scoring is an issue. But let's look at goals against though. Oh boy. So yeah, we're allowing a ton of goals, 104. So we'll have to see if it's a player issue, if it's a strategy issue. We'll have to go look, you know, obviously at the team stats going forward. Power play though, 24 goals. That looks to be tied for like 7th or 8th or something like that in the league. So our power play is working. What else? So power play percentage. We are 29. So I didn't actually remember our stats here. What are we? There we are. So we were 19%, 19.8 if you want to get technical. But still, 7 shorthanded goals against. Ooh, that's not good either. What else? Penalty kill percentage. We're not at the top. Are we at the bottom? We're at the bottom. So our power play is or our penalty kill, I should say, is struggling. And then, of course, let's sort it the other way around here. And our home record sucks. Our away record's not much better. And our last 10 isn't great either. So I think if we can improve defensively, I don't know if that's going to be a player issue or if that's going to be a strategy issue, but let's go see it and check on our players and see if anyone's underperforming. So let's take a look through the stats. So Larkin's performing like crazy. He's doing really well. Mantha, almost point per game. Duclair's almost point per game. Zadina a little bit behind them, but still there. Hosang's right there. So, okay, so that's pretty much our top 6 with the exception of a center. And then you kind of move down to our depth wingers. And then Fabry right now is our second line centerman. So he's, he's there, but he's not really playing great defensively. I mean, if you look at some of these guys' numbers. So potentially that might be a strategy issue. We'll have to go check that out here in a second. Rasmussen still struggling up there. I don't know is he waiver eligible? So we'll have to go see if we can put him on or send him down to the AHL maybe and bring up somebody. But I don't know how those guys are doing down there. But our fourth line's pretty much down there. Rasmussen, obviously got demoted down to the third line for now. defensively, when you have Hjalmarsson leading your team in points when he's a defensive defenseman, that's kind of shocking and very worrying if you ask me. But with the exception of Murray and Hronek, everyone else is pretty negative. So I'm gonna try to maybe swap up some of the lines. Maybe that might help. Maybe check on the strategies to see if we can tighten everything up there. But Bennington not performing as we hoped. Grice is kind of holding his own right there, 2-2. He basically started out 0-2. So I guess that's a start. That's an improvement. But still, we need Bennington to help us out there a little bit more. But maybe if we fix that defensive issue, that might help out Bennington as well. So after swapping up the strategies and swapping up all the lines, hoping to give a fresh new look to the squad, we're going to try out this month here, and then that's probably going to be it for today's video. But I'd like to get through this month if we could, and we'll end after this Buffalo game. So I'm hoping that something happens here, but we'll have to see once this month goes on. So we have some guys that are performing down in the AHL if we want to bring them up. But of course, we'll have to see what happens with our NHL team up here, because most likely we might have to make a trade, just get guys that are better defensively and fit our team more, because there's a few guys on our squad that don't really match the coaches. So it might be easier to fix the players rather than the coaches, especially going through a rebuild, that it might help us out a little bit more. So it does look like we got a bunch of wins so far this month, bringing us back closer to even, but of course it's still not going to be good enough. But hopefully we can end on a good note there. Of course, not losing to Buffalo. So that puts us where? As far as the standings go, I guess we'll just back out and go look. But so far, so good this month. So it pushes up to 37 points overall. So it does look like, playoffs are kind of out of the question, just given the fact that we're already, 13, 15 points out, I believe that's the math there. I might be wrong. But we might have to definitely look towards the trade deadline and see where our team's going to go from here, because it looks like we've had a better month, but obviously, trying to build that long-term success and try to win, and get back into the Stanley Cup Finals and obviously eventually win that Stanley Cup. So we'll have to see what we want to do. I guess we'll give kind of a mid-season, because since we are 42 games in, basically mid-season. I know it's one more, but hopefully that month helped us out, because we were not doing the greatest. So we moved up 5 spots overall. If you remember our stats from before, they definitely weren't good. So goals for 131, so we're still at the bottom. So goal scoring might have to be something we look at. We obviously did have a huge makeover to our team, so we got a lot of new faces there. Goals against. So this was the big issue last time. So what are we, 24 now? So we're not at the bottom anymore. So that's pretty huge. But where do we sit now? There we are. So we sit at 146. Looks to be about middle of the table, if not mid to bottom. So we might have improved at least a little bit there. So that's obviously a huge sign of improvement. So maybe we'll have to go peek at some of these teams that are in the middle of the pack as well, and see if they have any available players they could give up. So power play, we were fine in the power play beforehand. It looks like we may have dropped off a little bit, but we're still there. We're within 5 of basically like the top 5. So I'm not really worried about our power play. I mean, it's been pretty good so far. So like I said, I'm not really worried about that. Our power play percentage, it does look like it dropped off a little bit, but again, our power play wasn't the issue last time. I mean, obviously we could improve it, but this is the other thing. Penalty kill. Is this anything new? No. So we still sit around 75%, but that's not good enough. We need better. I'd like to get above 80% overall. I mean, 80 and 20 would be those ideal numbers overall, but that's just not where we want to sit. So potentially get some more defensive players for our bottom 6. We'll have to see if our fourth line's doing much of anything, but 5-3-2, so we are looking upwards. You know, obviously a more positive month than the last couple of months. So we're definitely trending in the right direction. But of course, players are the ones that are running this team. So Larkin being our superstar so far. But let's see what everyone else is doing though. So Mantha sitting on our top line as well. A couple points under point per game. Duclair's still up there, performing pretty well. Maybe we'll have to actually go through all of our lines because some of these guys, it doesn't look like are on our top line power play, which, you know, probably should be. But what else do we got? Bertuzzi. We actually ended up dropping him down to the third line just to try to, you know, figure out what was going on. So we might have to swap him back up to one of the top lines. Zadina still performing pretty darn well. Fabry doing a little bit better than what he was doing, but we need a little bit more production out of him. Hosang, I think he's still on our second line, so he's kind of right there. Rasmussen still struggling, if you ask me. And then, of course, our fourth line down there playing a little bit better defense. So those guys seem to be fine, but let's go take a look. So Cholowiski is doing a little bit better than before. Jalmerson. So all of our guys. So we only had 2 guys that were positive as far as the plus-minus went. But now we're down to 3. I mean, I know Cholowiski is even, but he's performed a lot better than the last couple of months. So our third line defensive pair is still struggling a little bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So again, Grice is holding even. Bennington did a little bit better that month, but of course, still, you know, once we figure out defensive problems, we might, you know, obviously see some increased, you know, stats and increased success on Bennington's side. So that's it for the NHL. I guess we could take a quick look down at the AHL just to see what's going on down there. Hyros. So obviously, you guys saw we had a bunch of guys signed to our squad. Lucas Raymond, he actually forgot about him. But another high draft pick, fourth overall for him. Nemestikov, Sveshnikov there, Veleno, Grigorenko's all down there. So some guys definitely dropped off from when I mentioned it last. But you know, obviously these guys are down here if we need a little shakeup in the NHL. But if I were to have to give a kind of next plan is probably try to upgrade our top 6 forwards as far as probably a winger and a center go, and then upgrade our defense. I'd like to get one more solid piece to go in there, maybe upgrade our third line just a little bit because we have those 2 good right-handers upcoming. So maybe we'll have to see if one of those guys are in the cards for this upcoming season. Give them a little time in the NHL and see what they could do and helps for our team. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button down below. Let me know how the team's doing so far. Let me know what you would change down below in that comment section. I'd love to read your guys' thoughts and comments and opinions and, of course, suggestions if you have any. But if you are new here or you just haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button down below. Help us hit our goal of 200 subscribers here on the channel. And as always, guys, see you in the next one.